Hey, how you doing today? As a stud finder, going to put some shelves up on the wall here. I'd like to go back to addressing the alleged contradictions, which we started doing a couple of months ago. And this particular contradiction, at least alleged contradiction, has to do with the idea that we read in Exodus 4:11, where God is the one who decides who's going to be deaf or who's going to be mute or who's going to be blind and so forth. And on this webpage, they're saying that is a contradiction with the notion that God is love. So in other words, they're saying if God's the one deciding who's going to be deaf or mute, clearly God is not a God of love. And I have to say there's a little bit of almost a spoiled, I don't want to sound mean here, but spoiled brat intonation in that particular complaint. In other words, we're saying if God isn't giving me what I want, clearly he's not loving me. But I'd like to address this by discussing a person who's been part of a ministry, of my ministry, and somebody who I've been very inspired by. Her name is Marana. Now, she is blind and became blind older in life. And not, she wasn't born blind. But there is nobody I think I know who understands and appreciates the love of God as much as this woman. Like, she gets it. Like, she gets that the afflictions in this life are momentary compared to the riches of heaven that she's going to enjoy forever. And beyond that, she's come to realize that as a result of those afflictions that God bestows upon his children, it is the means by which he helps us to think in a heavenly fashion. In other words, if things get too comfortable for me down here, I have a tendency to kind of focus on down here and forget about my eternal home and my eternal dwelling and the riches of heaven. So it's just the opposite. God is truly a God of love, even in our afflictions, maybe especially in our afflictions, because it is through these types of afflictions that he causes us to, as it were, lay on our back and look heavenward. So it's not a contradiction to say that God is the one who brings us affliction, and yet at the same time is a God of love. Matter of fact, I would argue that it is through those afflictions that God actually brings us into a closer, loving, and dependent relationship upon him. I hope that helps. Now, if it does help, maybe you want to share this or do a like or make a comment, let me know. Join my YouTube channel and see if this helps minister to somebody else. Anyways, God bless. Have a great weekend.